Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This race is the Sumter National Enduro. I'm Ryder Sigety, and this is my dad,
Mike Sigety.
This race was a great race. I loved it a lot. It had single track, a little bit of wide open, and I just had a great time racing it.
So Ryder, what's the difference between this National Enduro and a Hare Scramble or a GNCC type race?
So a Hare Scramble or GNCC type race, you'd be racing straight for a period amount of time, usually somewhere between an hour and a half and 3 hours if you're on a big bike. But in a National Enduro, you do sections. In this case, I did 5 sections, and each of them were around 20 minutes each.
20 minutes per section. And how many sections do you normally do, and how many sections does everybody normally do?
So there's 6 sections in total, but based on your class, you can do 4 through 6. I only had to do 4, but I did an extra one because I wasn't too tired yet.
Right. And when you race Hare Scramble versus Enduro, how many people do you start with?
Hare Scramble, you start with everybody in your class. So you start with upwards of, 40 people. But in an Enduro, you start on a row, and you might only have 4 people in your row.
That's right. And in a National Enduro, they go up to 6 people per row. And how many rows do they have at this race?
They had 150, I'm pretty sure, rows. And I know a lot of our friends got pretty far back in the rows, sadly.
Yeah, that was I think 1,000 people at this race. And I believe they sold out the entries up to 800 in 2 minutes. It's pretty impressive. This is always a very well attended race. And did we say already that this was in South Carolina?
We might not have, but this race was in Sumter, South Carolina, hence the name Sumter. We do a lot of talking in these videos, but if you want to see some unedited raw footage, check out our YouTube channel and stay tuned because we'll be posting it shortly.
How long are the sections approximately in mileage?
So the first section was 6 miles, which is kind of short, but all the other ones were around 10 miles, and it varies from race to race.
And how long are the breaks between each section?
We got around a 10-minute break in between each section because we had to travel from one section to another, which also took up time, but it was plenty enough.
So do you find that people move over for you kind of easily, as it's a courtesy, or do they kind of fight you and make you work your way around them?
In GNCC, I feel like I'm always working my way around people, which is understandable. They feel like they don't know if you're in their class sometimes. But in National Enduros, I usually never have a problem passing people. They always move over for me, and some even cheer me on.
That's great. And what time is this that section where the woods were on fire?
Yeah, I guess they were doing a controlled burn the day before, and there was ashes everywhere, and I just thought it was really cool. I've never ridden through a burning forest.
It's a little hard to see in the video, but there were still some smoldering trees.
Yeah.
So when do you find out how you're doing, and how do you find out how you're doing in this race compared to Hare Scramble?
So in a Hare Scramble, every time you come through at the end of the lap, you'll be able to see your score mostly. But in an Enduro, you can check it on your phone. However, there was no internet service at this race, so we couldn't check it. So we just kind of had to guess and wait until the end.
So when you get on your phone, you go on to the Live Labs website and you can see how other people are doing, but the internet I hear was such a problem that you couldn't do that. Oh, here's that burnt forest again. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And what do you find more social, during the race and also before the race? What do you find more social, the GNCC Hare Scrambles or the National Enduros?
For me, I usually have more friends at the Hare Scrambles because it's more oriented towards kids. But I know for adults, you definitely want to go to the National Enduros because there's a lot of adults there. And they all seem to be really nice.
And what kind of racing do you think is, well, when I say kids, let's start with that. What class do you race, and what's the age requirements? Oh wait, what's happening right here actually?
Oh, this is the end of the first section, and right here I'm done with the section and I get my break now. And this is the beginning of the second section.
And what was that clock on the top left? What does that tell you?
So we got minute 13, and that clock tells you when your minute's going. So if you're minute 27, let's say, when that clock gets to 27, you have to go.
And how do they determine that it's your time to go? Like, how do they keep score? Is there like somebody writing the information down, or is it electronic?
It's electronic. They tell you through your transponder.
And where's that transponder?
On your visor.
So they can record when you go in too early or too late, or can you actually go in early, or do they stop you from doing that?
Yeah, so there's people working at the checks, and they'll always stop you if you're coming in too early. But if you're late, they'll let you go right by.
So what are the requirements to race this class?
You could be 12 to 16 years old, and you can't bike over 200 cc's.
And how old are you?
I'm 13, AMA 13.
And what kind of racing do you think is better for kids? Hare scrambles or enduros?
I think that Hare Scrambles is more oriented towards kids because most kids have endurance because they're so little and like full of energy, so they can go through that hour and a half pretty easily. But if you're an older person, or if you just like brakes better, then you definitely want to go to the enduros.
So do you find the enduros easier or harder than the Hare scrambles?
I find them pretty similar, but sometimes I find the National Enduros harder because taking the brakes for some reason makes me tired. But if I just keep going non-stop, then I seem to keep a good amount of energy.
And how did your, oh, what's going on here? What's that now?
That was section 3 of the race, I think.
And how did your bike work today?
My bike worked great. I was riding the 2022 and I was so excited. I liked the geometry a lot better, and I was ripping.
Yes, you were. You did great. And were you using your stiffer suspension today?
No, I wasn't. I was using softer suspension because I like it better in the tight shoes.
That's funny. You should see Ryder smile. He's like, I don't know. Was I? And did you think you were going to beat me at the beginning of this race?
Based on the day before, I knew your wrist was hurting a little bit. I was thinking I could, but I didn't know. And then once we started the day, I kind of figured that I could, yeah.
Now, what happens on these straightaways here? How fast can you go?
We recorded it on my watch. I went about 50 miles an hour top speed. We could have gone faster, but we don't gear my bike for top speed. We gear it for woods and slower technical spots.
So do you think you're going to beat me at the next Enduro?
Definitely.
Smack. And how many times did you stop for gas?
I stopped for gas once at the 30-mile mark, and everybody stopped for gas there. There's a routine gas stop for everybody, and if it wasn't back at the truck, there would be a gas truck that would take your gas to where you would have to gas, and they did take it back.
So the gas stop was back at the pits for this one?
Yeah, it was, and it was pretty convenient because you had like your whole pit, any tools you needed right there.
So if people want to follow you on social media, what is your handle on Facebook and Instagram?
So if you went to Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, which you're probably watching this on right now, you just search Ryder Sigety, and all of my accounts have the profile photo as a picture of my front number plate, number 31.
And spell your last name.
Sigety.
So Ryder doesn't really like to talk about this part, but I do. If you could please like and subscribe to the video. Racing's very expensive, and the more subscribers we have in our YouTube account, or any of our accounts, but mostly our YouTube account, really makes a difference with our sponsors and how much they value us. And if you subscribe, you don't get bombarded with emails or anything like that. Just when next time you go to YouTube, there will be a little notification bar on the top, if you also choose notify, and it just tells you, hey, Ryder Sigety posted a new video, and that's really it. So it really doesn't cost you anything. You don't get on a spam list, but you do have to be logged into your YouTube account, which is also free to have. So Ryder, you had a heart rate monitor on when you did this race. Do you remember what it told you? Was it anything surprising, or was it kind of what you expected?
I can actually check right now. So my heart rate was pretty high. I had an average of 130, and that's including the brakes. So that means that really my average when I was racing was higher. And the first section, my heart rate was a lot higher than the other ones. And my max heart rate was 188, which was pretty high for racing. I felt good about that.
That's great. And each section you get a overall score on how you did with everyone at the race, but you don't really get an overall score for the whole day because they only score you for 4 sections because you're a kid, but some of the other classes do 5 and 6 sections. But do you remember what your best overall score was?
I think it was around 88 or something. I'm not really sure.
And I think it was 84, but I think we put that in the beginning of the video. And there's probably 20 or 30 pros, so that's pretty good. That's actually pretty good A-class time. So congratulations, I'm proud of you, kid.
Thanks.
So what do you think of these tight trees? Do they freak you out when you're going through the tight stuff fast? Or are you used to it now?
I'm used to it. I've been racing tight stuff my whole life. Back here at home, most of the trails are tight. We don't have anything like wide open, and I have a great time. Like the tighter it gets, I usually like it even more. Like those really tight sections where you're just sitting up on the gas tank the whole time. I like that.
Yeah, I think your local series, even the Hare Scrambles, are very tight. Matter of fact, the wide open stuff is kind of new for you.
Yeah, it is a little bit new, but I'm beginning to like it a lot. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, and subscribe. And leave a comment on how you thought the race was if you were there, and any suggestions you have on how we can make the videos even better for you guys. Thank you. See ya.